Okay, guess what? The inevitable has occurred. Yes, the monster of identity politics has finally turned on itself, as over the past few days, the social justice paladins of the California Women's March have canceled their event. Why? Why, oh why would they possibly do that? Hello, pronoun Puritans out there. It is I, Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV, here to give you the lowdown. On December 31st, Reason Magazine's Robbie So reported that the Eureka, California Women's March organizers canceled their big event, not because it wasn't ideologically diverse, but because it might be seen as too white.
We didn't cancel the event. We're just postponing it to allow it to be done in the right way and not just the white way.
Yes, that's right. Which, of course, many observers have actually mentioned about some of these big leftist organizations like the Women's March and Antifa, that they seem to be comprised of many white people. But this move by these folks, this seeming move to be more inclusive, actually allows us to learn a quick lesson. This move for superficial prejudging through identity politics, meaning so-called intersectionality, well, it's now being exposed for the albatross that it actually is.
Without having the voice of non-gender binary women and women of color, then we don't have the voice of women.
So, to start, the Women's March is predicated on postmodernist so-called identity politics. That's the idea that in order to smash years of supposed white male capitalist oppression that's turned females or black people or Hispanic people, etc., the individuals themselves, into non-people, just faceless parts of some racial or sexual category, these modern carriers of the pain will somehow restore their individualism by, yeah, you got it, tossing away their individualism and categorizing their enemies and themselves with group identities. Okay, so we'll just skip over the logic of that and continue. That is, of course, rather racist, sexist, and prejudicial itself. So, to try to get around this problem, this contradiction, the social justice warriors play the PR game after that. They try to look inclusive, wanting to truck in various categories of people so they can be seen as what's called intersectional. Yes, and I'm not talking about a sofa set. Yes, by intersectional, what they mean is, this, of course, is the ability of bringing in every tiny group that they possibly can.
Census data shows white people make up about 74% of Humboldt County's population.
That's a fact, but it does mean that having an all-white organizing team leaves out this other percentage of people in Humboldt County. We're not the only people here.
But this raises problems itself, because at a certain point, a march focused on a certain issue or a small set of issues reaches a limit on inclusivity, beyond which it can't cover every ideology or problem of everyone invited. Hence, this is supposed to be a women's march rather than just a march. Okay, so these folks at the Women's March are actually, it seems, afraid. They're afraid to look non-inclusive, superficially non-inclusive, while perhaps they could actually be gathering around certain ideas that they have in common.
It is just really sad to me that this event is canceled due to the participants being overwhelmingly white, or the people organizing it being overwhelmingly white, and I think this is just headed in the wrong direction.
Kelsey Reedy, one of the march organizers, says they feel it's important to reach out to underrepresented groups.
Their stories are very often unheard.
A monolithic concept, and it seems indeed that we can see that they do have one unifying theme. And it is from that we can draw our pretty good lesson, I hope. The core unifying idea behind the Women's March is the devotion of participants to get the state, i.e. the government, to pass laws mandating that others behave in certain ways that the politicians want them to behave. So, for example, they want to mandate minimum wage laws. They want to mandate so-called equal pay, even though studies show that male versus female earnings differentials are based on different work choices by the men and the women, not a male patriarchy. And, of course, these folks don't want to talk about that. And they also want to make sure that the government forces things like quotas through the law. Okay, so let's get that lesson. The lesson comes from a question we can ask the Women's March organizers. And it is this: if you are so eager to make all things equal through statute, would it be okay to pass a law telling you how to organize your march? Would it be okay for politicians to command that you have X% female, Y% male, Z% straight, A% bi, B% Hispanic, C% Asian, and so on in your march? And how about we go a little bit deeper than your superficial way of looking at things? How about we actually ask about the content of your ideas? Yes, indeed. How would you feel if politicians told you who could speak at your rallies, when, and for how long? Perhaps turning to the government for mandates isn't ethical, and maybe we should try to change societal problems that we see in a different way, rather than commanding people to operate the way we want by using the government. Maybe this is a lesson that you too in the Women's March can understand. That when you see a problem that you want to fix, you're actually creating a larger problem, a weapon that can be used against you as well when you want the state to force people to act in certain ways. When you want to punish people who just want to engage each other voluntarily. Perhaps that's a larger lesson that we can get out of this crazy world of intersectionality meeting identity politics. Maybe all of these things should be resolved through society and voluntary action. People convincing others to change their ways, not telling them. Just an idea. I don't know whether the Women's March people will include it in any future marches or rallies. But at least we can talk about it. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you are new to us and you're watching on YouTube, hit the little bell because it will tell you when new videos are released by MRC-TV. For MRC-TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.